Hey guys, it's Amy, and I wanted to make a video today just talking about how we can homeschool our middle school and elementary school students well. Now, all of my videos so far have been about CLEP testing, and CLEP testing has been just such a great find for our family. My 16-year-old has 25 college credits through CLEP testing, and my daughter has 12. And I speak in my other videos about how we've been able to get those tests for free and just get our kids working on getting those liberal arts credits out of the way without the debt. So check out my other videos if you're interested more in the specifics of CLEP testing. But for those of you who are just in the trenches of homeschooling elementary school and middle school students, and you want to do that well, maybe you don't know if you're going to be shooting for doing college work in high school or not, but you want to do it well, I just thought I would do a quick video where I give some tips. Looking back, there are some things that we did in our homeschool from a young age that I think really put us on a good path for being able to take and do these CLEP tests. So I just wanted to talk about a couple of things that we did, and not by any means that I am a homeschooling expert. I am not.
Yes, she is.
These are things that we just kind of figured out worked for our family. I'm sure they don't work for every family, but I'm just going to talk from our experience, and maybe something in here will be helpful for you. So first of all, we emphasized reading at a pretty young age. And there's a lot of different feeling about that. I've spoken with homeschoolers who feel like reading just really shouldn't be pushed very much until kids seem ready and are interested. And I didn't feel that way. We read to our kids all the time when they were little. We would read books over and over and over. And so by the time my oldest was about 4.5, we felt like we were ready to start teaching reading. And we did not start with letters or the alphabet or anything like that. We just started with the book Teach Your Child to Read in 100 Easy Lessons by Siegfried Engelmann. And that book was recommended to me by a veteran homeschool mom. So we picked that up, and we've done that for each of our kids. We've taught them to read in preschool so that in kindergarten they're ready to go. That's one thing that we did. We read a lot out loud, and we taught reading early. Another thing just in how we set up our homeschool was that we kept it very structured, and I hate to use the word, but disciplined. So I had a homeschool schedule, I still do, that we try to follow. So we are up and having breakfast at 8 o'clock. Now, since coronavirus and everything that's been going on, we've been staying up later at night, getting up later in the morning. So now we're eating at about 8:30 as a family. But usually we would be starting school by 8:30 in the morning, and we would keep on track to take one break mid-morning, a 45-minute break for lunch, and then back at it to finish up school and do instrument practice. And we really have held to that schedule. So we schedule out our days and our subjects. And for us to skip a subject for a day that needs to be done is pretty rare. And I know it doesn't work that way for every homeschooling family. Others maybe have to make a lot more modifications just based on their family's schedule. But for us, we started school generally the last week of August. We would start with math, and then after Labor Day, we would start all of our subjects.
In the end, it's worth all the extra work for college credits. Mostly.
And if it turned out that we needed to take a day off, something came up, then we would actually even make up that day over a fall break day or a Christmas break day. If it happened in the spring, we might take that day off of spring break. So I know that the advantage of homeschooling is flexibility. So a lot of people don't like to think about making up a school day. But for us, just wanting to raise academically competitive students, it's been very important to us to really not make many exceptions for deviating from our schedule. For me, I consider it really my full-time job to make sure that my kids are getting the education that they need to get, that they can be competitive and perform well. So I devote my time when I'm at home for it. So schedule, very important. Discipline, also important. We have our kids get dressed, get ready for the day. I generally like them to work at a table or at a desk. Now, as they get older and they're doing more free reading, my son, he does a lot of his work in his room, and that's fine. But just establishing those good habits when they're young. Now, some parents love to do pajama days.
Nope.
Nope. No pajama days.
And that's fine. You can do pajama days. I've never done a pajama day, but my kids wouldn't know what to do if I did a pajama day. They'd be like, we want to get dressed, Mom. I have homeschooled in my pajamas when I'm running late and we need to get started after breakfast, and I don't want them wasting time until I'm ready. So I guess that's happened. But staying disciplined, staying scheduled, and then for myself, I know that I have to be planning ahead. And I really am always thinking, so it's April right now. We're wrapping up some of our school subjects. My younger ones are getting done earlier and earlier every day because some of their subjects are getting done. And I'm keeping a log of next year, what they're each going to be doing for their subjects. And I'm always reading up on things that I'm going to need to know for the subjects that my younger students are moving into. And that's just part of it. Now, for me, that's fun. I love to research. I love to read. I love to just think about what they're going to be learning. And so for me, it's fun. So those are some tips, just keeping a routine, keeping a schedule, being disciplined, planning out your curriculum. I'll also say that we do not bounce from curriculum to curriculum based on my child's preferences, or anything like that. And I know that can be kind of a trap with homeschooling. There's so much out there to choose from. And I see homeschool friends all the time talking about this curriculum isn't working. What do you think about this one? What do you think about this one? And I suppose there is room for that, especially when your kids are young, you're getting your feet wet, you're not really sure what works for you yet. But I have really made it a principle that when I find a curriculum that is doing the job and working well, I stick to it. So I don't switch out curriculum even if my child doesn't like it, because life is full of things that are mandated to you that you don't get a choice about when it comes to a job, when it comes to your college professors. So I would say I'm kind of a totalitarian homeschooler. When I found a curriculum that works, that I know my child is capable of doing and they perform well, then we stick to it. It saves me money, it teaches them discipline, and it's just consistent. So I would also just say that if you find something that works for you, that is doing the job for your kids, don't change without a good reason. So those are some tips that I have. Hopefully something in there is helpful for you. When we found out about CLEP testing, we didn't know, are our kids going to be ready and able to do this? Is this asking too much out of them? And we found that they actually were academically in really good position to be able to take on those CLEP tests. And I do think that in large part that was to do with the consistency of those early years, a lot of reading and knowing that schooling was not optional. Giving them challenging material and having them always correct their work, not just turn it in to be done with it, but making sure everything on it ultimately is right. And we just feel like that, in hindsight, was just a gift from the Lord that He gave us the wisdom to do that. And so I would just encourage you all out there to just homeschool consistently, and your kids will be ready to succeed academically. And once again, if you have any questions and you want to comment or have any ideas for future videos, things that you'd like to know specifically, reach out. I'd love to answer those. So thanks, guys.